So I definitely need a haircut. Um, no real visions. Uh, I've been really wanting to give up lately just because, like, it feels like all my gifts are still in training mode. Rebecca's been really good about reminding me that I can still heal in big ways, and a lot of my dreams do come true, even today. It's hard for me because I like to measure progress. And a lot of people will say, oh, just keep sticking with it, just keep sticking with it. But I have to have methods to determine and ascertain that nothing's happening and I need to change tracks or change what I'm doing. And a pastor said something a long time ago that was, don't you want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes? And I do. If you want to know a funny story, I went to this church in Brea, California, and one day I just had this weird thought. I just said, God, can we watch the action scene from The Matrix at church? I don't know why I said it, but I did. And I went to church that Sunday and we watched that last 20 minutes of the first Matrix movie. And it was just so bizarre. I thought, one, that's weird to watch in church, and two, because it is a rated R movie, it was such a fleeting thought for me to ask God for that and then to have it. That's been kind of one of the weird things about my life is most whatever I pray for, I get. So when other people say oh, haven't you ever had a hard time believing God exists? It's like, not really. Not really. I remember when I was going to high school, I made a friend my junior year. And he said, you can't prove God exists. And I was like, what? What the heck are you talking about? He said, well, you can. I said, what? What are you talking about? And he said, well, how would you even prove God exists? I said, I don't know, miracles? And he went, oh, so you've seen miracles? And I was like, yeah, I've seen a lot. Have you not? And he goes, what have you seen? And I mentioned 5 I'd seen, 5 my babysitter'd seen, 5 my other babysitter'd seen, 5 my parents had seen, 5 I've heard stories from books from missionaries, 5 from elders in my church, 5 from youth pastors, 5 from other youth pastors. And he's like, oh, yeah, it helps when you go to church. I said, oh, okay. I thought it required faith. I'm like, yeah, but faith isn't blind faith. It's the understanding that there's an expectation of reality that will repeat itself. Okay, well, let's show some clips, talk a little bit. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do this first. I normally do prayer last. And I don't like it when people pray in their podcast, so if you want to skip it, I understand. I just asked that you pray for Michael J. Fox and what was her name? It's all the way down here on my notes. Where did it go? Oh, here it goes. Fiona Cawley. She's a comedian. So I've prayed for the portal of healing, which basically means we're encouraging healing to happen in America and the world. And I want it to be very, very easy for Christians and for people to pray for healing. Yeah. So God, we pray that you spin the portals and keep them spooled up. That you heal Fiona Colley and Michael J. Fox. And if you're from the future and they've already been healed, please take 27 seconds to just pray for them. Yeah. And I've added dreams to the portal of Christmas, that our dreams would come true. We'd have an easier time doing them. Coming into our dreams and making awesome things happen. And oh my God, I'm totally gonna get a haircut tomorrow. So yeah.
One of the things I tell agreeable people, especially if they're conscientious, is say what you think. Tell the truth about what you think. There's going to be things you think that you think are nasty and harsh. And they probably are nasty and harsh. But they're also probably true. And you need to bring those up to the forefront and deliver the message. And it's not straightforward at all, because agreeable people do not like conflict.
So I thought this was interesting because I have a hard time... I don't have a hard time telling the truth, but I have a hard time not being quiet. I'm very opportunistic, and I will back down in certain situations where people are bullies. And so I really had to think about this one, about how I'm half Mexican, so if you're Mexican, you understand. The Mexican culture is very intense, especially the Catholic side. It's very intense when you disagree with your parents. And I need to get better at disagreeing. But I thought that was a good clip. I thought that was important, that we should know that. Let's look up some verses on truth. Okay, I found some good ones on the truth. Psalm 15:3. I have to go. Did I put this out of order? Oh my gosh, they're out of order. Wait. 3, 2, 4, 5. Okay. Psalm 15:2. He who walks blamelessly and does what is right and speaks the truth in his heart, who does not slander with his tongue and does no evil to his neighbor, nor takes up a reproach against his friend. So another translation is, cast no slur on others. In whose eyes a vile person is despised, but who honors those who fear the Lord, who swears on his own hurt and does not change. That's kind of a hard translation. Those who despise flagrant sinners and honor the faithful followers of the Lord and keeps their promises even when it hurts. And I know the church throws around the word sinners a lot. What it's really referring to is, like, if you know something's wrong but you don't care. I think that's what it's saying. Like, don't hang out with people like that. Those who lend money without charging interest and who cannot be bribed to lie about the innocent, such people will stand firm forever. You can also translate that to, he who does these things will never be shaken. So that's 15:2 through 5, I believe. So just some good poetry to remember. If you're new to the Bible, just look at it like poetry and a philosophy that's kind of built into reality. The center of the universe is the power of love, and the power of love is sentient, is a great way to look at everything. Okay, let's see what else I have to talk about today.
This is a terrible thing. 1 out of 2 women who are 30 and younger have no children. 1/2 of them So 1 woman in 4 will never have a child, and 90% of them will regret it. It's involuntary. It's like involuntary childlessness rather than involuntary celibacy, on the male side.
So there's this weird like anti-children fever that's been going around. A lot of our tastes are cultural, and I kind of get it when the whole world is like screaming at you in sync, and the church has done a really bad job about getting on the internet. Most churches just kind of like post videos, and they don't get the social media part of the media. So that's what I'm trying to fix here. If anyone wants to give me a 3 to 27 second prayer, I have a portal of civilization up there spinning. And if you guys missed last episode, something God's called me to do is to pray for portals to open. And really, that just means that like, when we ask for healing and we ask for gifts and we ask for heaven to work, heaven is going to be extra attentive. It's like saying like, I'm going to put a beacon over my house, except it's a portal. So we're like asking God to thin the wall between heaven and earth, or to have a like hyper lane bypass. Like, feel free, God, to jump from where you're sitting to where we are quickly to help us fix our problems. And it's really sad that so many elites are just like, bah, children. But you have to remember, no matter what, the demonic forces never sleep. And so evil is always trying to thwart greatness. And children are the best thing in reality. And anybody that says like, oh no, overpopulation is just stupid. Because at some point we're going to colonize the stars. And that'll be awesome. We can have a whole planet just for monkeys or dolphins. And that'll be awesome. Okay, let's do some poetry on children. Proverbs 17:6. Grandchildren are the crown of the elderly, and the glory of the children is their fathers. So another way of putting that is grandchildren are the crowning glory of the elderly, and parents are the pride of their children. So that's kind of cool. And then, where did I find it? So Matthew 19:14. But Jesus said, let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. I think the children were like interested in Jesus, and they were kind of like, go away, kids, go away. And Jesus was like, no. Children are very important. So I wanted to rephrase this in a way that was as if Jesus was talking to you instead of about you. So if you have a heart that honors curiosity and interest, it becomes, but Jesus said, little ones, come to me and do not be hindered, for the kingdom of God belongs to you. That is another way you could say that. What else? This one was interesting that I actually heard from Jordan Peterson, Colossians 3:21, fathers, do not provoke your children or they will become discouraged. So yeah, that means if you're, and you can kind of see that, right? Some parents kind of provoke their kids or antagonize them. Some parents are just kind of like screwy. And so their children become frustrated and don't try, which is always sad. Proverbs 1:8-9. My son, listen to your father's instruction and do not forsake your mother's teaching, for they are a garland to grace your head and a necklace to adorn your neck. So that's kind of sweet. Yeah, let's do more videos.
Canada. Do you think because of the situation we're in the US and in Canada, there needs to be more pushback from the right to counteract what's happening with the left? Or do you think it's possible for somebody to come up in the middle and say, hey, you guys are both part of the problem. Let's try and go forward in the middle?
I don't want to be a doomsayer, but I think it's too late.
So this is why it's important to bring Jesus back, because one, we need to understand that there is an ultimate truth, and two, we need to understand that that ultimate truth is love. And as you start to learn the philosophy of heaven, because God created the universe, the more you know the philosophy, the more you can meaningfully interact with destiny. And so a lot of people get frustrated because we have a call to be magnificent in our chest. We have a calling to move things in magical, magnificent ways. Like when you watch anime, when you watch like a lot of movies, there's something that stirs in you emotionally and spiritually. And one of the reasons we get frustrated is we understand that we should be able to stir the universe in such a way. And when you pray, you're using your soul and exercising it. You're using your soul and contemplating with God at what we could do to change things in your favor or people's favor or God's favor. But you need to pray, because prayer is exercising your soul into effect. It's like turning the key of the engine and then driving the car. And I'm not even saying that you need to do what I want. I don't care if you're a murderer. I don't care if you're a witch. I don't care who's made fun of you for what and how heartbroken you are. You need to pray because you need to see how much you can affect the world around you. So let's say you have a friend who's trying to get married, or lonely because they don't have a wife. I've done that before. I've prayed for so many people to get married, and then in like 2 months they get married. I had one girl, she was like, yeah, I'm 30, I don't think I'll ever get married. And I was like, no. You make a list. You make a list of like 20 to 50 things. We'll make a list together. And then I'll get you married in a few months. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. And so she made a list and I prayed about it. And then I think 2.5 months later, she met the guy, and 2 months after that, she was married. And she was just like, thanks. And then she like donated $50 to my ministry. It was really cool. But yeah, she even had a sister in a mental institution. And I was like, give me a couple months. And I prayed and I prayed and prayed. And then like 2 months later, her sister walked out of the mental institution, was a lot better. You'd be surprised. I've met suicidal people and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I'll start praying and suddenly I'm like, hey, how's your suicidal tendency? And they're like, it's I haven't been feeling it lately. And then if I forget to pray, suddenly it's coming back. We don't have a mental health issue. We have a spiritual health issue that looks like a mental health issue. Let me see if I can find some Bible verses. Okay, here's a good one. Proverbs 16:24. Gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. So I like that one. I think that was really good. I need more right here. This one's kind of cute. Jeremiah 17:14. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise. Jeremiah 30:17. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord. So there's some poetry to keep you warm. And I like calling the Bible poetry because it kind of is. It's like inspired verbiage. I don't just like saying the Bible because we've kind of chewed that word to death. If I say Bible, a lot of people just groan. Okay, let's go on.
I don't understand the pedophilia thing, because believe me, I live in Miami. I know the Russians.
Yeah.
I know the Colombians. I know the Venezuelans. I get the extra girlfriends.
Okay.
But if you're not happy being married, why do you got to go to the...
No.
Just go bang a hot chick.
So I found this Bible verse. Ephesians 6:12, I believe. For we are not contending against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, against the world rulers of this present darkness, against the spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. I wonder if I can put on like an acting voice for that one, because that's there was a book series called This Present Darkness. It was really cheesy, but I think it would have made good anime, actually. It had to do with like real life, and then there were like angels and demons moving around. Let's see if I can do it in a cooler voice. For we are not contending against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the powers, against the world rulers of this present darkness, against the spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. That was a bit weak, but that's still a lot of fun. Got to do theater where you can get it right. And even if I'm bad at theater, I will never stop. When people say I don't sing because I have a horrible voice, no, you should always sing. You should always dance. You should always do the theater. If you can't, you have a responsibility to do it even more. Yeah, we have to remember that evil doesn't sleep. And the reason why people get tempted to go after children in a lustful fashion is because the demonic influences us to destroy the innocent. So any way it can do that. And so one of the problems, one of the great things that Satan has done, or the demonic, is convince people that there is no Jesus. And so because of that, when people start getting really psychologically messed up, they don't seek out spiritual help. And that's a real sadness. There's been quite a few people who I've helped get away from suicide because I just understood spiritual dynamics. I understand that your soul is another muscle you can use. So you have your body, your intellect, your emotions, and then your soul. And if you don't understand how to flex your soul, like, no wonder you think you're crazy. Okay, more videos.
My own personal experience with abortion, and I don't think we talk about this enough, abortion can be another word for mercy.
This one's always a harder topic. The place where I stand on this thing, on this very politically charged topic for our day and age, is when enemies show up at the gates, men have a responsibility, and we've shown up to this responsibility to defend women and children with our lives. So like when the Titanic went down, it was women and children first. It's always women and children first. When there was war, when there was 9/11, men showed up ready to die. And a noble thing that all men celebrate is those who die for others. And that is our duty as men. I even told that to my coworker. I was like, this is my responsibility, is to put my body in harm's way so you live because you are seen as precious. And when it comes to women, I feel that your responsibility is to put your body in harm's way for the child. We protect you and the children, and you protect the children, and you do protect men emotionally. I believe that we've kind of lost that as society. There's this weird trend where if we beat each other up enough, then somehow the scales of justice will be balanced. But Christianity and the spiritualism of God, who is the spirit of love at the center of the universe, because I really want you guys to understand that the power and force of everything majestic, magical, and magnificent is love. It is love that built the universe. It is love that made physics. It is love that pushes things into the realm of possibility. Where was I going? And the most important thing in life and the most important thing to God is his family. And so sex is a very interesting thing because it's one of the few things you can do physically that connects you to the spiritual. So it's a spiritually, physically important event that we've made into a sport. And so a lot of people say like my body, my choice. And yes, it was just like it's my choice to put my body in the way and defend you against danger. The choice to have sex is important. And we can say, you know, sex isn't always optional. Sometimes it's forced upon us. And that is absolutely true. I've known a great deal of men and women, and men, a lot of men actually, who had that forced upon them. And it's not fair. It's not fair for me to say something that hurts your feelings in such a way. But the most important thing, one of the most important things for men to do with their life is to protect women and children. And the most important thing for women to do with their life is to protect the children. Because they're little souls made by God. So if you are ever in that place, I'm going to do something better. I'm going to do something better that no one ever does in this argument. Don't take my word for it. Because everyone is kind of barking and bitching and yelling and complaining. What makes Christianity so awesome is there is a God King at the center of it. Right? We spend so much time with the Bible, and I hate that. The Bible was never used to prove Christianity. The original way was the Bible was a great reference, but we had all these miracle workers. We had miracle workers that went out and said, all you have to do to know eternal love, to be possessed by power, to know that your immortality is secure in a garden of paradise in the future for all time, is believe in Jesus. That was it. John 3:16. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever shall believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That's it. You just believe. That's it. No details, no rituals. You don't have to do communion. You just believe in Jesus and you're done. Like when the criminal was dying next to Jesus, all he said was, remember me. And Jesus says, tonight you'll know me in paradise. So I don't want you to take my word for it. All you have to do is pray. That's how I get everything answered. Like when people say really weird stuff at church, I'm like, I'm going to check that with God. You don't need to check it with the Bible. You can check it with God. And then just pray like once a day. And then all of a sudden someone will walk in and tell you the answer. Like today I was confused about a Bible verse about slavery. I prayed really quick. Suddenly this answer just popped up in front of me. And it was, God's not talking about slaves. He's saying your one duty as a Christian is to honor God. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And the pastor goes, you're a slave to nobody, but you must honor God. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. Tell God what you want. Tell God what you think. He will answer you. And this is how you know it's coming from God. Because you might think, oh, he'll answer me and I'm just crazy, right? So what you want to do is once you've got your answer, do it again. And he'll like send someone else. And the answer will just kind of ring bells in your head. You'll be like, oh, that's a really good answer. That answer kind of clicks. And then you can do it again. And you can ask him, like, have someone else. Like one day, watch this. I was having a really bad day. Things weren't going well. I was feeling really depressed. And I was like, God, I haven't asked you for anything in a while. And he goes, what's up? I go, can you, to show that you love me, can you have like someone jog by tomorrow when me and my buddy are working on my car and just pray for a minute, just like offer to pray. And God goes, okay. Well, and then how are you going to know he's from me? And I go, my name's Joshua. Have his name be Joshua. And I hear God go, okay, all right. So next day at early in the morning, I think like 10, I'm working on my car with my buddy. And this jogger jogs by. He goes, hey man, you know, I go to church nearby. You know, you got time for church? I'm like, no. I had to stop the video because my roommate had a bunch of people over playing Dungeons and Dragons. But anyways, yeah, I was going to school and working like 40 hours a week at the time. So I was really busy. And so the jogger just asked if he could pray for me. I was like, sure. And he's like, what's your name? I'm like, oh, it's Joshua. And he says, oh, my name is Joshua too. It's like, wow. So first, if you want to know where God stands on something, pray about it. He'll give you his answer. And then you can pray for someone else to bring you that answer too. And someone else. And so if all these people come up to you and they have the same answer, you can kind of know it's from God. So for example, besides the jogger story, I used to be afraid that playing Dungeons and Dragons was evil. And so I prayed that God would send somebody to explain it. And so my friend who's very logical, like came up and he said, it's, you know, okay, so you think it's evil? Like, yeah, I'm worried just because my parents are putting it to my head that it's evil. And he goes, okay, so if somebody was doing a play on Christianity, yeah, and they wanted to play Satan, would that be okay? And I was like, yeah. He's like, it's the same thing. We're not worshiping gods. We're just doing theater. And then later in my life, in my 20s, I was in therapy, and my therapist said the same thing. He said, it's great you have friends, it's great you have family, but if you want good advice, go to people who are educated and experienced. So like therapists that have their degree and like 20 years experience, pastors that have their degree and like 20 years experience. He goes, the problem with going to people like your friends is they only have about as much wisdom as you. And really he was saying like, you don't need to trust your parents on everything. They're not educated on Christianity and they don't have experience leading churches. They're not authorities on the subject. Even though you love and respect them, you know, consult authorities on the subject. So that was really wise. So anyways, it's important for you to know the center of the universe that is God. It's important for you to know good moral philosophy too, because you'll be able to integrate your dreams and desires into reality and achieve them. So did I do both videos? Yeah, so I did I just did that video. Okay, so the two verses I got was from Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. Which I believe means made holy. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. So here we learn that God gives us our gifts and our special qualities before we're even formed in the mother's womb. So I really wish I could say that. I'm so combative, but I really wish I could say that with the poetry it deserves. Like, I'm gonna give it a shot. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. That's not even enough. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before. That's just silly. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Sorry, I like theater a lot. And then this one, see, what's hard for me is because I was homeschooled, I read a lot of books on like slavery and I saw a lot of like documentaries on it. And And I was always like, how can this be done? How can this darkness prevail? Doesn't anybody stand up? If slavery ever came back, I would stand up for it. And so now with this just ending of souls, especially since we know each soul is given certain gifts and certain great moments in time are written for these souls that were ending early, I care. Like, I care just the way I'd want to stop slavery. If it ever came back, I want to stop this because souls matter. And so when people say like, oh, it can be a mercy, I'm like, no. Like, you are barking up the wrong tree in the wrong forest in the wrong land. And I say that with all the kindness in my heart, but, you know, some people may have required slavery to survive. Don't try and tell me that slavery was ever a good thing. It doesn't matter if it made your life easier or helped you succeed. Like, slavery is a no-no, and the same way this is. So Proverbs 12:10, a righteous man regards even the life of his animal, but the tender mercies of the wicked are only cruelty. So that came to my mind when she said, when the actress said, it can be a mercy. No, the death of our families, the removal of beautiful souls on this world is never and not a mercy. So yeah. Okay, what else we got? I wanted to do more, but I'm falling asleep. I love you guys. I added dreams to the Christmas portal. So pray for the changes you want to see in our government. Pray for the changes you want to see in your dreams. I'm probably going to add marriage to the, I guess I can just do it here. God, add marriage to the Christmas portal so we can find love. And add happy endings and happy chapter marks. We have to turn this nation around. I love you guys with all my heart. If nothing else, no matter what you've done, murdered, attacked people, witchcraft, I don't care. Please believe in Jesus and acknowledge that he died so that way we can become possessed by the Holy Spirit and know spiritual power and persistence in life. I love you guys very dearly, and if nothing else, I want to know you in heaven someday. And I hope that matters to you guys. All right, I'm going to do more tomorrow.